guys, welcome to the channel. Glad you could join me. I am doing a rainbow layout today. Why? Because why not? Now, the thing is, for me, I kind of go along the lines of, if it's really dreary outside, I love it to do a nice bright layout and it just picks me up and it keeps me happy. So here is this one. Why? Because Queensland can't work itself out whether it wants to be raining or whether it wants to be sunny, whether it wants to be boiling hot or nice and cool. It just can't figure itself out. So we have had the worst weather. Okay, Victoria had a storm yesterday or the day before. That one takes the cake for this week, but we've had some pretty shocking weather up here, so it's a bit ordinary. Hence, a nice bright layout. Now, what is my subject I'm scrapping today? Honestly, my daughter's cheeky little smile. It was the cutest little grin. I have so many photos of her with her little cheesy grin, and she's just adorable. She is obviously no longer this age. She is much, much older, as she keeps informing me every single morning and every single afternoon. I believe today we're down to 10 days. Yes, 10 days until she can do her Prep L, which is to get her learner's driver's license. And I've got to tell you, I'm a little nervous. I don't know how she got to this point. She's too old. It's freaking me out. I still vividly remember being a single mother. So the fact that she is now 16 and, you know, it just blows my mind. Blows my mind. Not that I was a single mother with Angela, but I was with Taylor. So, yes. Now, I am doing this. This is something I want to show you. If your paper is warping really bad, whilst it's still wet, flip it over. Well, not wet, but damp. Flip it over and use your heat tool on the back of it. It will curl the paper back the other direction as it's drying. And that really helps the warping. So that's just a little tip from me. And I stuck it in this video to remind me to tell you that. Now, I pulled out some stencils. Now, these blue stencils, I think I got them from Kmart eons ago, because this is like the blue that I see in Kmart. So I think that's where I got these from. I've had them for a long time. So if you go looking for them, you probably won't find them. But I pulled out a couple of stencils. I wanted to do some wordy, mixed media-y stuff on my layout. I didn't necessarily want lots of texture, but I knew that I wanted something like this. And I'm just going to town, just putting some different marks on the page and just building it up. Because there's quite a few people ask me this, and I get asked this a lot. How do you know where to put what on a page? Well, sometimes it's just by eye. Sometimes it is like muscle memory. You just know that it looks good in a certain, the rule of threes. You know that. So that's kind of muscle memory. You know that that's going to work. If you want to try something different, that's when you've got to dig into your toolkit and sort of go, wonder if this will look all right. Wonder how this will go. And the one thing that I want to teach you is, if you use acrylic, okay, so the difference between watercolor and acrylic is permanent. Once acrylic paint is dry, it's permanent. You get it on your clothes. I know it says it's water-based, but once it's dried, guess what? It ain't coming out. So, same concept on when you're stenciling, right? Yes, I'm doing this on top of distress ink. That is water reactive. Therefore, every single time that gets wet, from the second you put it down to whenever, it will reactivate with water. That's why I'm using acrylic paint on top. Notice that I'm using it very, very thinly, the white. I'm using it very, very thin. So by the time I've lifted my sponge, it pretty much dries straight away. Therefore, it's not absorbing the colour from underneath. Quite often, I actually had a lady ask me the other day, how do I stop this happening? She was using Distress Oxides, and Chanel, if you're listening, hi. She was using Distress Oxides, which is totally fine. Oh, and she did say I could say this, by the way. She was using Distress Oxides, and she was using white acrylic paint on top. She was using white paint on top, and one, it was white paint, yes, but it was one of those. Remember, if you've been here for a bit, remember I went to Lincraft and I thought I'll try this titanium white, see if it was really watery. It wasn't as opaque as the MONT one or the Creative Place one. So this is what I say, they're not, all paints are not created equal. So what was happening is she was putting it down, and a couple of things that I noticed was the paint was quite thick and quite wet. It stayed quite wet. So one of my things that I suggested was use a makeup sponge, and you can get them from Kmart. They're dirt cheap, and all I do to clean mine is I chop the end off when it's dry. That's it. So it's not a big mess or anything like that. You can see as I'm putting this gold down, see how it's kind of transparent as soon as I put it down? That's because it's drying that quickly. Now, that particular gold is the MARTE metallic acrylic paint. Now, so one of the things I suggested was to use a makeup sponge and do thin layers. Lots of layers, but thin. Once you get that first thin layer on, and it's nice and uber thin, that will lock in the distress color underneath it. For me, that's how it works, okay? It locks it down. You can see here where I've used that acrylic paint on top of the distress ink. Because I've done it so thin, it dried so quickly, it didn't give the ink time to activate and taint my white paint to the color of the rainbow. So that was one of the suggestions. That actually worked for us, so we didn't really need to go much further than that. But and I just suggested if you're doing a stencil over the top, it's my suggestion that you just do a couple of layers, keep them super uber thin, and that way you can build up your white and you get a nice white opaque on top of your color. Obviously then you've got the thing where, well, do I not use inks in future? Do I not use watercolor? What do I use? Acrylic on acrylic is ideal, but as you can see on this layout, I make it work. It totally works because it's a background. It's not meant to be all in your face, and it's supposed to draw your eyes, so you've got a bit of white space at the bottom where I end up journaling on. Then you've got the big rainbow, which is up the top, which kind of balances out the page. I did do a rainbow over my smile, but I didn't put any white acrylic paint on it. So it stands out from the background, and it's got that gold trim around the outside. Another tip that I have, when you have a slightly warped top sheet, then go ahead and use tape to put it down. By adding more, if you add more glue to it, you're adding more liquid to it. So you're kind of exacerbating the problem. So I find that I can, now it is crooked at this point, don't worry. It's all good, I fixed that. But the thing is, every time you add liquid to your cardstock, it's going to absorb a certain amount of that liquid. So one, if you really want to avoid that, Vicky Bouton's foundations cardstock in black or white, amazing. I will scream from the rooftops, that stuff is amazing. It's great. It is not necessarily the cheapest option here in Australia. For us down here, it costs us about 20 bucks unless you can get it on sale sometimes, it's about 20 bucks a pad. So It's not the cheap for someone like me that is bringing you content on the daily pretty much. It's not something that I can actually afford to have and use all the time. So I use the 240 GSM Poppy Crafts brand white and black cardstock. I get mine from Crafts Online. I believe Poppy Crafts must be their brand, one of their brands that they have, because they've gone very much down the bit of the rabbit hole with it, where they've got stamps, they've got mica powders, there's paints, there's what else have they got? They've got the cardstocks, they've got stamps and die sets. They've got a really good range. So if you're an Aussie or a Kiwi and you want to have a look at the Poppy Crafts brand, go over to Crafts Online. It's not affiliate. They're not paying me to say any of this. It's where I found I can get value for money. And because I do go through so much, I need to be wise about it. And I can get, I think it's 10 or 12 sheets of cardstock for about $2.99. I usually buy it when it's on sale, and it pops up on sale for $2.99 or $3.99 pretty regularly, once a month maybe, I'd say. So yeah, it's really good, really handy. Now what I'm using here is, what am I doing? I've put the gold. I wanted the gold to run around the outside edge. I felt like, and this is something that I do a lot of, I like things to be on my page in threes. So the rainbow, it's on there. I've then got the rainbow in the word smile, and the colors in the photos are reminiscent of the rainbow as well. So it kind of, yep. Then I've got the gold behind the writing. I've got the gold behind the photos. I need gold on there somewhere else. I could have gone with gold splatters. I could have gone with gold bling. I could have used my gold metallic spray. Gold cardstock. I'm trying to think. There's so many different things. Gold pen. I could have used one of many, many things, but I didn't. I decided to use, because I like, if I use one gold, I like to carry that same gold, because we know that all these colors are not necessarily the same. You know, you can't just say gold and you know exactly what color it is, because there's so many different colors of, there is so many different colors of gold, shades, tones of gold. So I like to, where possible, you saw that I painted the gold for the offset for the word smile. I did the same on the photos, so now I'm going to do the same on my border. Now I did trim it down to get that black the right thickness. I trimmed my borders 1/4 inch and then realized that's a bit too thick, so I then decided to run some 1/8 tape around the outside edge of my layout, and then I trimmed those, and you've got to hold your tongue right when you do this, and use long bladed scissors. If you do that, then you're on a winner. You'll get it, with a little bit of practice, you'll get it straight. I use the Tim Holtz scissors. I love them. They have soft handles on them, so they don't hurt my hands at all. And for that, I am so grateful. Now, you can see there, it's pretty much done. You can see it's not very warped at all, considering how much liquid I put on that page. I absolutely love it. Now, I'm going to do a shameless plug while I do a little bit of pen work for the close-up. I would love, love, love it if you subscribe to my channel. I have got about 37% of people not subscribed, and I would love to see those numbers go up, because it all helps my channel out. Also, if you'd leave me a comment or an emoji in the description below, that would be super, super helpful as well. I also have my links to my Facebook group and my that went completely out of my head then. My Facebook group and my Instagram in the description below if you'd like to jump over there and see the close-up photos and or share what you have, what you're learning, something you would like an answer to. All of that stuff you can do over on the Facebook group. And yeah, I also have my buy me a coffee link in the description for those that want to help me out by purchasing some bits and pieces. Then that's an easy way to do it. There's my layout, guys. Do you like it? Let me know below. Is it a winner? Give me a thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Chat to you soon. Bye for now.